There are women in this world who have been through things that would have ended most people. Things that happened behind closed doors, in quiet rooms, in the middle of the night when no one was watching. Things that left marks no one can see. You may be one of them. You smiled through it. You kept going. You showed up for everyone else while silently carrying weight that had no name, and somewhere along the way the world called you strong. But what they didn't know, what they couldn't see, is that strength wasn't something you chose. It was something you were forced to become. Carl Jung once said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." And the women who have been broken and refuse to be destroyed, they know exactly what that means. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear may be the first time in a long time that someone finally sees you. All of you. There is a certain kind of woman that the world doesn't fully understand. She is not the loudest in the room. She is not the one seeking attention or validation or applause. She is the one sitting quietly in the corner, observing everything, feeling everything, and carrying more than anyone around her could ever imagine. She has been broken, not once, maybe many times, by the people she trusted, by circumstances she didn't choose, by a life that didn't go the way she had planned. But here is what makes her different. She was never destroyed. She bent. She bled. She fell to her knees in moments of darkness so complete she couldn't see her own hands in front of her face. And then slowly, painfully, she got back up. Carl Jung spent his life studying the human psyche, the hidden depths of who we are beneath the surface we show the world. And what he discovered about women who survive their own breaking is nothing short of extraordinary. Today we are exploring 5 rare traits found only in women who are broken but never destroyed. These are not traits you can learn from a book. They are not skills you can develop in a workshop. They are forged in fire, in pain, and the kind of silence that comes after everything falls apart. If you recognize yourself in these traits, I want you to know something before we even begin. What you survived was real. What you carry is real, and who you have become because of it is more powerful than you have ever allowed yourself to believe. Trait 1. She feels everything but shows only what she chooses. Most people think that women who have been through pain become numb, that they shut down, that they build walls so high nothing can get through. But the truth is the opposite. Women who have been broken but never destroyed become more sensitive, not less. They feel everything. The shift in someone's tone before the words even come. The sadness behind a smile that doesn't reach someone's eyes. The moment a room changes energy before anyone else has noticed. They feel it all. Every single layer of it. But here is the rare part. They have learned through years of surviving exactly what to do with what they feel. They don't react to everything. They don't pour themselves out for everyone. They have been burned enough times by giving too much to the wrong people that they now have an almost sacred relationship with their own emotions. Carl Jung described this as the integration of the feeling function, the ability to experience emotion fully without being controlled by it. Most people are either controlled by their feelings or completely cut off from them. But this woman, she has found something in between, a place of quiet power where she can feel the fire without being consumed by it. You may have mistaken her stillness for coldness, her silence for indifference, but what you were actually seeing was mastery. The kind that only comes from having felt too much for too long, and learning how to carry it with grace. Trait 2. She has a wisdom that cannot be taught. You notice it the moment she speaks. There is something in her words that lands differently. Not because she is trying to sound wise, not because she has memorized the right quotes, or read the right books, but because what she says comes from somewhere real, somewhere lived, somewhere that most people have never had to go. She has sat with grief long enough to understand it. She has walked through betrayal and come out the other side knowing exactly what it costs and what it reveals. She has loved people who didn't deserve it and lost things she thought she couldn't survive losing. And all of that, all of that. Darkness and loss and confusion and pain became something inside her that no classroom could ever teach. Carl Jung called this earned wisdom, knowledge that is not intellectual but experiential, carved into the soul by life itself. When she gives advice, it doesn't sound like advice. It sounds like truth. When she looks at a situation, she sees not just what is happening on the surface, but what is really happening underneath. She sees the patterns, the motives, the wounds driving the behavior. She sees people clearly, not harshly, not judgmentally, but with a precision that comes from having seen herself clearly first. This is why people come to her. Not always to ask for something. Sometimes just to be near her. Because there is something about her presence that makes the truth feel safer. That makes the painful thing feel survivable. That makes you feel understood. And that is not a small thing. That is one of the rarest gifts one human being can offer another. Trait 3, she loves fiercely, but she no longer loses herself. In love, this trait is perhaps the most misunderstood of all, because from the outside it can look like she has become cold, guarded, unavailable, like the pain she has been through has closed her heart. But that is not what happened. What happened is far more complex and far more beautiful than that. She loved before. Completely. Without reservation. She gave everything, her time, her energy, her vulnerability, her whole self, to people and relationships that took what she offered and left her emptier than before. She loved people who were not ready to be loved the way she loved. She stayed when she should have left. She forgave when the same wound kept being reopened. She made herself smaller, quieter, easier, trying to be what someone else needed her to be, and it broke her. Not because love itself is dangerous, but because she had not yet learned the difference between loving someone and losing yourself in them. Carl Jung spoke deeply about this, the danger of what he called psychological merger. When two people become so entangled that one or both of them disappears inside the relationship. She disappeared for a while, but she found her way back to herself. And now, she loves differently. She loves with the same depth and the same fire and the same fierce devotion she always had. But she loves from a place of wholeness now, not from a place of need. Not from a place of fear. She no longer loves someone hoping they will complete her. She loves them knowing she is already complete. And the love that comes from that place is not weaker than what she gave before. It is stronger, cleaner, more real. It is love that does not require her to disappear in order to exist. Trait 4, she has made peace with solitude without making peace with loneliness. There is a distinction that this woman understands better than almost anyone. The difference between being alone and being lonely. Lonely is the ache of wanting connection and not having it. It is the feeling of being in a room full of people and still not being seen. She knows that feeling. She lived inside it for longer than she should have. Around people who didn't understand her, in relationships that looked full from the outside but felt hollow from the inside, in versions of her own life that didn't fit who she actually was. But solitude, she has learned to love, not because she has given up on connection, but because she discovered something inside the quiet that she never expected to find. Herself. The real version. Okay, not the version shaped by other people's expectations. Not the version that performed strength because vulnerability felt too dangerous. The actual her. Underneath all of it, Carl Jung believed that the most important journey a human being can take is the journey inward. He called it individuation, the lifelong process of becoming who you truly are by facing what lives inside you honestly and completely. This woman has taken that journey, not because she wanted to, because she had to, because when everything external fell away, when the relationships ended and the noise quieted and the life she thought she had turned out to be something else entirely, she was left alone with herself. And instead of running from that ... she stayed. She sat in it. She listened. And she found that the person waiting for her on the other side of all that silence was someone worth knowing. Now she protects that solitude, not as a wall, but as a sanctuary. A place she returns to again and again to remember who she is when no one is asking her to be anything else. Trait 5. She carries scars, but she is no longer ashamed of them. This is the trait that defines everything else. This is the one that separates the women who were broken and never destroyed from everyone else. She is not pretending the hard things didn't happen. She is not covering the wounds with performance or perfectionism or a smile so practiced it has become automatic. She is not living in the story of what was done to her, but she is also not pretending it didn't happen. She knows exactly what she has been through. She remembers the nights she didn't think she would make it. She remembers the moments her trust was destroyed. She remembers the versions of herself she had to grieve before she could become who she is now, and she has stopped being ashamed of any of it. Carl Jung said something that took him decades to fully understand and even longer. To fully live. He said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." This woman knows that. Not as a quote. Not as a concept. As a lived truth carved into the center of her being. Her scars are not her identity, but they are part of her story. And she has stopped trying to hide the story, because the story is not just about pain. It is about survival. It is about the night she thought she was finished, and the morning she woke up anyway. It is about the version of herself she almost lost and the version she found when she stopped pretending everything was fine. It is about the love she gave that wasn't returned and the love she finally learned to give to herself. She carries all of it, openly, without apology. And there is something about a woman who has stopped apologizing for what she has survived that is absolutely impossible to break. If you recognized yourself in these 5 traits, I want you to stop for a moment, not to analyze, not to question whether you really belong in this category. Just stop and let yourself be seen, because you have spent so much of your life being strong for everyone else, being the one who holds it together, being the one who keeps going when everything inside you wants to stop, and you have done that beautifully. But today, ... just for this moment, let someone see the truth of what you have carried. You were broken, and you are still here. You lost things that mattered, and you found your way back to yourself. You were hurt by people you trusted, and you chose, even if slowly, even if painfully, to remain open, to remain real, to remain you. Carl Jung believed that the greatest act of courage a human being can perform is not the dramatic heroic gesture the world celebrates. It is the quiet daily decision to keep becoming who you truly are, in spite of everything that tried to stop you. You have been performing that act of courage every single day. Even on the days it didn't feel like courage. Even on the days it just felt like survival. It was both. It has always been both. Share this video with a woman who needs to hear it tonight. Because somewhere right now, there is a woman sitting alone in the dark, wondering if what she has been through has broken her beyond repair. And maybe your share is the reminder she needs that broken and destroyed are not the same thing. That she is still here. That still here is enough. That still here is everything. Take care of yourself, and we will see you in the next one.